because again, I'm looking through the prism of my wonderful wife, as all of you know, because she touched so many people. And, you know, I'm not going to be the same, but we're trying. And we'll get there. And again, I thought about writing a speech, a eulogy, and I'll go now. I'm just going to talk from the heart. There's no script. I have to relay this one story, and some of you probably know this. When Cheryl's younger sister, Lisa, passed away from colon cancer, she did the eulogy, and she said she probably, there's no way she could have done it right. And she felt like Lisa was holding her up. And now the irony of this is she's holding me up. So I don't think I could get through this without her. I spoke to her this morning in my own way, and just gave me a sense of warmth. And I want you all to know how much I appreciate you being here, because that's what she would want. It's, you know. And thank you so much. I mean, like I said, I can't thank you enough. So what I want from all of you is just have a good time. This is not a service again. It's a cold word, because I know that's what she wouldn't want. She wants to be light, and that's what I'm doing. So if any of you, there was probably a couple of things I was going to mention, but sometimes, you know, fleeting things just go in your mind and leave and go out, especially at a time like this. So again, just have fun. All right, I want you to enjoy this day. This is a celebration. It's nothing else. This is a celebration, and that's about it. Other than I want to afford anybody that wants to say something. You know, you can do that. You don't have to, because I know it's. I mean, I didn't see myself doing this, and again, I have to harken back to that story, like I told you, how she got through with her younger sister passing away, and how she physically, well, almost metaphysically, I guess is probably a better way to say it, that she was held up by Lisa. She's felt it, and I feel that right now with Cheryl. So, you know, does anybody want to say anything?
We worked together, and after the War Bureau disbanded in the mid-90s, it was not totally closed down, but it was almost closed down. And Cheryl went off to find a new job. She held together the group of people that worked together at the War Bureau, and we met as recently as a few months ago. We had 2 or 3 times a year met, and she was beautiful when I first met her. She was beautiful when I last saw her. She was indeed my commiseration.
Thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Cheryl and I go back to the late 90s. We met playing tennis on a Friday round lot. And we dated. And as time went on, she wanted to buy a home. And she bought the house that Mike lives in now.
We live in.
And I lived with her for 10 years up until 2010. And our relationship evolved into a friendship. And when we went our separate ways, we were good friends. And I stayed friends with her afterwards. I came over and did work on the house. Me and Mike are friends.
It's bizarre. I mean, we become really, really close.
Well, later
friends.
she met Mike and
Right.
they got married.
So, yeah, but you know what? We're as close. I mean, it's really a strange
Yeah.
story. And but after Jim finishes, I've got to tell you all a story about how we met. Go ahead.
Well, getting back to Cheryl,
Right.
I just want to say, there's so much that I owe to her. I have a lot of memories I wouldn't have if it hadn't been for her. She worked for a company called KDA, and it was a design and build company, and they would send her to the West Coast and to set up advertising, do a trade show. And then she would turn it into a vacation, and I would fly out. And I saw Seattle, Phoenix, Sedona, Arizona. I went to all these places. I would have never done if it hadn't been for her.
And just to tell you folks, sorry, Jim, just real quick. I know it's kind of bizarre, the relationship that we have, but we're close. And we have, obviously, Cheryl in common. And I know there's not a lot of people out there that could understand how, because when we met, and I'm going to go into that after Jim's done, that, we just became close friends, and obviously we are. And I value his friendship, and he knows I love him. So it's really a strange story. But anyway, finish.
Just real quick, I'm sort of unprepared. I didn't know if we were going to do this or not. But
yeah,
when I knew her, we argued, we fought a lot, and that's just the way she was. But it would get so ridiculous at times that we would end up. It became a comedy, and we'd start laughing.
Right.
And those are the memories that I really cherish about Cheryl is getting her to laugh.
Because that laugh, there's not a laugh on you guys that have heard her laugh. There's no laugh.
She was fun to be with.
In the
If
world.
you could just get her to laugh, and I really miss that.
Hey, Jim. This is
Oh,
Nancy. Remember you
Nancy.
came to visit me in
Yeah.
Sedona
Yeah.
I remember that voice.
with Cheryl. When you came
Huh?
out with Cheryl. Do you
Huh?
remember when you came to Sedona with Cheryl?
Absolutely. I was just telling them about all the memories I've had traveling. I told them I went to Sedona.
I
We
know.
stayed in your multi-million-dollar home with the glass walls
You had to
and the
throw that
swimming
in.
pool. Yeah, it's great to see you again. I was hoping to see you here.
I know. I was hoping to be there, but with COVID, just can't do it. Like
Yeah.
COVID. I did get COVID, but anyway, it's not about me.
Do you
You
still
know,
live in that same place?
No, we moved,
Oh,
but we live in a beautiful golf community now. And Cheryl and Mike were coming to see us, and I think they were going to try and get out here.
Right.
But
Yep.
what I wanted to
6
say
weeks
about
ago.
Cheryl is I've known her since the 70s, and we were single together. We did everything together. We've kept in touch like weekly practically. And we would talk on the phone. She would come and visit. She's just a darling, darling girl. And I really cherished her friendship more than anything. And I was so happy to see that she found Mike. And he was so good for her and so good. I was just so thrilled when they got married because I knew that's truly what she wanted. And Ariell was just the love of her life, and she is the love of her life, and she always will be. And she'll always be in our hearts. And she's such a joy. And I've heard all the stories and all the remembrances. And, you know, I would have so much to say, but it's very, very hard
Right.
because of our friendship was so long.
Well, it's like I was saying, you know, these right now my mind is racing and things go in and my speech can't keep up with my mind because it's just moving so fast. And there's
Right.
probably some things that I wanted to say, but I didn't want to script anything. I didn't want to read anything because I wanted
No.
to come from my heart, right?
Right.
So, for those of you that don't know how we met on an airplane.
I know. I love that story.
The story is phenomenal. For those, most of you probably know this story, right? Most of you do, yeah. It was Thanksgiving Day, no, Thanksgiving time, and I remember walking into the airport, and for whatever reason, I saw her sitting there, and we just made eye contact, and this is you're not going to believe this. Those of you that don't know the story. So yeah, you know, I guess it was kind of a mutual instant attraction. And it turned out this was, you know, right before we boarded the plane, right? So we get on the plane and it turns out we're sitting right next to each other. And it was just amazing. So we were flying, going home. Both of us were going home for Thanksgiving for the upcoming holiday. And she was doing a crossword puzzle and I couldn't believe it. I just started talking to her, you know, sometimes I'm shameless when it comes to things like that. You know, I'm not a shy person. But there's sometimes when you just feel those things, you just feel it, you know, it's, you just know. So we just started talking about a crossword puzzle. And, it just went on from there. And turns out that when we got down, we flew from, both of us were going home for Thanksgiving, as I said. Her mom lived 4 streets from my older brother. 4 streets. So when we landed, obviously, I asked her for her phone number, her contact information, and she was happy to oblige, you know. And so it just went on from there. And then it turns out, you know, we're both Scorpios. My birthday is November 20th. Hers is November 21st. So I'm astounded when I hear myself say that. And sometimes I forget how amazing that is. That, you know, I was telling Laura this the other day, it's like a movie, you know, you read about, or can't believe it. I've told people in the past that exact story, and some just don't believe me. But so then it just blossomed from there, and obviously, you know, 12 years later, here we are. Our wedding anniversary is a week from today. We met in 2010, Thanksgiving Day weekend, and we got married October 14th, 2012. And, you know, it's just an amazing story to me. I just think it's phenomenal. And I love to tell the story. And a lot of you have heard it. I know a lot of you have. But I sometimes it leaves me breathless, you know, to just think how that happened. And this, I guess, easiest way for me to put this, and I think I've told several of you, and it may have even been on the Caring Bridge site, that this world is a poor place without her in it. It's that simple. But everyone that's here, yeah, everyone that's here, there's a reason why you're here, and she's smiling. So thank you again. Yeah. So anyway, does anybody want to say anything? Please.
I
Come
will
on.
try. I will try. Well, girls may have to come with you. No. Listen, I've been around Mike, now for a few weeks. It's all good. No, I've known Cheryl since the 70s. We were roommates. I was a flight attendant for Eastern Airlines, and Cheryl had a 9-to-5 job. And she was a great roommate. She was neat. She was very clean, and always kept everything nice. And all I can say, we really had a great time. Whoever was talking earlier about the 70s. We had some good times, Mike.
Oh, I know.
And she loved to dance. We would go to Charlie Magruder's. We lived right down from Riverbend Apartments, and I'm sure a lot of you know Riverbend Apartments. But she was good. She was a good person. She had a heart
That's
this big. Yeah, she really did. And you know, we lost touch because my husband was in the hotel business, so we moved around. And when we finally moved back to Atlanta, we finally got back together. And we always would meet for lunch and talk about you and how proud she was of Ari. Ari, you have no idea how high you were on her. She always spoke highly of you. So I'm just glad I got to meet you. And I've heard great things about you, but girls talk about girls.
I get it.
Yeah, but Cheryl was, she was a great person, and I know you all know that, and you
Yeah,
all loved
everyone
her.
knows that.
And it's been very hard for me. I think I'm teared out. I'm cried out as my husband, and I'm going to miss her dearly. And but I know she's with us. And I have a story, but I'm not going to say it. But
Why?
well, it's really, it's something like you and Laura shared, something that happened.
We didn't share anything already.
Well, okay. You can, well, I will say, and you can ask my husband about this, because I was very kind of thinking, gosh. I woke up Saturday morning, not today, it was the weekend of Saturday. I think it was Saturday. And I kind of said, good morning, Cheryl. Something said me, I spoke to her. And it was weird. And I said, Cheryl, I want a sign from you, because I've had death in my family and I've had signs from people. And I said, I just want a sign that you're okay. And I went upstairs. My husband was watching a football game, and I went upstairs in the office and started watching something else. And a few minutes later, he came up, and I was sitting there in the chair, and there was a tree right next to me, which kind of comes around the window. And all of a sudden, I see something at the corner of my eye, and he's at the desk, and I said, my God, that's a cardinal. Because I wanted her to send me a sign. So I said to my husband, I said, oh my God, I know this is a cardinal, but it's not red. It's brown. It's got red on it. He said, well, that's the female. But I still feel that was her.
Right.
Telling me she was okay. And because, I mean, I hadn't seen a cardinal. It was weird. And even though it wasn't red, but I know it was her. And I looked at that, and I said to my husband, and I looked at it, and I said, Cheryl. And as soon as I said that, it flew away. And I think she was telling me she's okay. So I want to thank you, Laura, for everything you have done for him, for Ari, and for all of her friends. I'm Italian, so I speak with my hands. But you have been an angel. And I
Yes.
know
Oh.
Cheryl is surrounding you with love today, and your husband. And thank you so much for including us. And we love you. We're always there for you.
I know. Well, would you mind sharing that story that, when she showed up at our house? Do you mind?
I don't think that's a good one to share, actually. Well, I can
I can abbreviate it. But,
Yeah.
But I also have a lot to say if I can remember and think about how do you put Cheryl in a 2-minute
Right.
speech if possible. And I've known her a lot less than anybody in this room. I've known her about 5 or 6 years. I was babysitting Ariella when she was at. That was her. That was the answer right
It's
there.
like a cardinal.
Yeah. I mean, it was. You're throwing an idea out, nothing. Throwing an idea out, nothing. Throwing an idea out, nothing. Throwing an idea out. Back on.
Bam.
No, it was her. It was her. It was absolutely her.
It's just, yeah, when you hear things like that, again, everyone's got their own sense of spirituality or, belief in whatever. I'm not judgmental when it comes to anything like that. But things, that we've been talking about and things like that, there's got to be a reason. And Laura knows this, and I think I've talked to several of you that my faith has been shattered, and sometimes you react differently to things like this. Some people embrace faith more. Me, I'm just pissed off. Okay, and
He's gone through.
Sorry.
He's gone through. If there's a God, why would you take somebody like Cheryl? And I'm like, well, duh. She's Cheryl, right? Who doesn't want the angel back with him? And he's angry naturally that she's not here anymore. But the fact that he struggles with, he has said along the way that he doesn't believe in God anymore. And I disagree with him. I think he's just very, very angry, and rightfully so. But I think he is. I just keep reminding him, bringing her back around.
Yeah.
You're angry that she's no longer here. That's what you're angry with, and that it was his time to take it. And he's like, damn it, yeah, okay, but I want to be mad and I want to not believe, but he does. He just isn't quite there yet.
She wouldn't
Right.
be happy with you.
Oh, she'd be thrilled.
well,
No, she wouldn't be happy with him if he didn't believe.
No,
Right.
but she'd be thrilled that that's progress that he's
Right.
admitting
Yes.
Yeah.
reluctantly. Every time I steer him back around, yeah, but why would you be so angry if you didn't believe that there was a God?
so I'm still in a heavy grieving stage, obviously. I told Laura, I don't know when, and I think I've told several of you that it's so hard, because I cried myself dry. I thought if that's possible, and I don't think it's over yet, obviously. So it's going to be a process. Like I said, yeah, it's anger right now. It's, faith is shattered. I don't know where to go from here yet. And Paul and Laura,
North Metro.
well, yeah, so it's going to have to run its course. You can't rush these things. Everybody's got their own way of grieving. Obviously, sorrow, anger in my case, because, I'm a hot-blooded guy. I'm half Hispanic and half German. So, and Jim knows this, and so does Laura, that I have a tendency sometimes to not think before I speak. And Cheryl pulled me back on some of that stuff. But, and if she was here now, obviously, if this didn't happen, I did everything she wanted me to, because that's how much I adored her. So I'm working on it. I don't know how, when, what, why, whatever. It's a process. It's just going to take as long as it takes. So that's just the way it is. And that's, now it's me and that, like I said, the angel that still is with us, and then the angel that's in heaven. But my priority now is angel that's here with us. And she's gonna be fine. I'm gonna make sure that there's nothing more important to me.
On that note, I asked Ariella like last week, I'm like, how you doing? She's like, I'm fine. I'm like, how? How are you fine? How are you? She goes, because Bunny would want me to be fine. I'm like, and that's true. She would. She would. While I'm up here, I do want to say, if you don't mind, I want to say a couple of things. I haven't planned anything. I meant to plan something and it didn't happen. Today's event, Mike stressed over and over and over and over again. It is a celebration. It
Right.
is joyful. It is, we expect tears. That's okay. But it is more the stories that make us laugh and that make us think about Cheryl laughing and things that she said that would make us laugh. And so he's like, if you were planning a birthday party for Cheryl, what would that look like? So that's what we've tried to do here. Roses were her favorite flower. So you'll find roses everywhere, rose petals, roses everywhere. We decided barbecue because backyard barbecue, that's just, it's fantastic, right? I want to let you guys know, these things here are,
Oh, yeah.
so it's supposed to be paper, seed paper. It didn't quite come out that way, Pinterest lied, but what can I do? But what this is, we put some paper down and put it through the blender, and then it's got rose petals, and it's got forget-me-not seeds, and it's got lavender, and it's got Cheryl's ashes.
Cheryl's ashes, yes.
So each of you can take a little piece of Cheryl home with you. And in your
I
time,
hope you would.
in your way, when you're ready to say goodbye, celebrate her, whatever that looks like to you, plant it in the wild, plant it in your pot on your deck. But you can take a little piece of Cheryl home with you.
Yeah. Because everybody that's here, I'm sure, you got a lot from her as a person, but now you've got something physical, and I would recommend, if you choose to, obviously, there's no rules, again, here's nothing. Take one,
Not
please.
Play-Doh, it's not for the kids.
Yeah. So that's, yeah. So.
Lord, it's so lovely.
Thing here is really just if Cheryl were, if it was a birthday party for her, this is what we had come to this is exactly what she wanted. Ariell had a lot of input
Yes.
of how she wanted things, and what she thought Cheryl would want. I've only known Cheryl a few years, 5 or 6 years, and she's made such a huge impact on my life. And I've heard stories about all of you guys, all of you, but I have never met any of you until, and I can't believe that hasn't happened until now. I'm gonna close my part of just by saying, I'm gonna show you a video. It's just, this happened this summer. This happened May or June. And it was, Cheryl and I were just having coffee at the dining room table over here. And Ariella and Sydney had been upstairs and they came down with a script. And it was why they are supposed to have a sleepover tonight. Okay, but the reason I really, really, really want to show you this is because at the end, it was so unexpected. Cheryl and I were just sitting down having coffee, and at the end, you hear that beautiful laugh. And it just, that's when I went through it, when I found out she was sick. Oh, I do have something to tell you guys about that. When she was sick, all right, I went to the hospital as often as I could, which was not often because they wouldn't let us in. They wouldn't let Ariella in at all. I know she wanted to go, but they wouldn't let her in. But know that all of you who sent me, please tell her this. Please tell her this. I whispered that, I held her hand and I whispered it into her ear. And I read whatever it is you guys told me to tell her. So, and that was probably a week before she passed. And so I know she heard everything, every comment, everything that somebody said, please tell her this, she heard. I read it to her. I was there. I held her hand when she passed. I was so scared that she was gonna leave this world by herself, nobody there that she knew. The nurses, and they were all fantastic, and they were all ready to be in there. Because in ICU, I guess it happens, you know, it can happen in 30 minutes, it can happen in 3 days, I don't know. But I was able to make it there. And
You know, Laura, you were not alone, you know, Lisa, the mother,
oh,
brother, they were all surrounded.
I know,
Oh,
and
yes.
I gave her,
Supporting you,
I gave her,
and pulling you through this.
I gave her permission. I said, go see them, go see Lisa, go see Greg, go see mom and dad.
Right.
I know they're ready and they're waiting for you.
Mhm.
I've got Ariella, we've got her, she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine, we're not her. Fall through the cracks, they're all. But just know, when she passed, I was holding her hand and talked to her. And there was I have a video also that was Ariella playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on a thing, and I just played that over and over again. I just played it over and over again so that she could hear Ariella. It's one of the last things. So I'm gonna play this video, and then it's supposed to be happy. Sorry, Cheryl. Weren't so fabulous, we wouldn't be crying. Okay.
Cheryl Meyer Canales' house. Your beloved children are pet having right to go to the house. Our hard work deserves a sleepover. Another reason why we deserve a sleepover is because we are straight A students. We have so many confident talents. Also, we all need two perfect professional pets during the night, not including adults. Farewell to all, and we hope that this has intrigued you enough to have a sleepover. Your beloved straight A student, Sylvie and Ariana.
Just that
It
laugh.
was an infectious laugh.
That laugh. They got the sleepover. Okay, thank you all for coming. If anybody else has more they want to say, please, but
Thank you.
just.
Thank you, Laura.
Giselle, you there?
I'm here,
Okay.
and I would like to share something. If I don't know if you can all hear me or see me. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Giselle. I lived in Atlanta for 12 years. When I moved there, I didn't know anybody. And within a short week, I met about 12 people through tennis, and we all became good friends. And for the whole time I lived there, we hung out, we had parties, we had celebrations, we laughed and we cried. And I met my sweetheart, Jack Winnick, there, who also knew Cheryl and knew all our tennis friends. And I don't know if there's any of the tennis friends at Laura's house. I can't see, but I do have a couple of stories to share. We now live in Los Angeles. We moved in 2001, but Cheryl and I kept in touch and saw her a couple times through the years. And Mike and Ariell, our hearts are heavy with you, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate Laura for hosting this today. I wanted to see if I could screenshot and share some pictures. And hang on a second. These are just some of the tennis girls from Atlanta.
Okay.
Marge, can you all see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Marge, Susie, Vicky, Linda, we always called her, Cheryl, and Kathy on the end. And this was at my condo. Jim, is that you?
Yes.
Yeah, there's Jim. Jim did some work for me in my condo. We had some good times together. Hi, Jim. It's great to see you. Jim and Cheryl, and we always called him Pondo Man, Lou Pondo. Linda. I'm crawling over to get in the picture, and there's my sweetheart, Jack Winnick, on the right. Here's another picture of some of the other friends. Carol, who's on the call today. Marge, who's on the call today. Linda, Leslie, Cheryl, Susie, Vicky, and me. And Cheryl was always such a sweet person and so funny. I wanted to tell a story about her trip to Hawaii. She came back and was telling us all about her trip and how they were sitting on the balcony enjoying breakfast. And she said to us with complete innocence and wide eyes, and then this bird came and put his pecker in my muffin. And we all started laughing so hard. It was so funny. But she just looked at us. She didn't understand why we were laughing so much because she was just so sweet and innocent. She cat sit for me. She loved cats. I had a cat named Scout, a Siamese boy. And she used to say to him, she'd get him right up to her and say, look at you, look at you. And she loved him and he loved her. I've had 2 Siamese cats since then. And every day I say, look at you, look at you. So I think about Cheryl every day. I wanted to share one more thing if I'm able to. It's a little video I put together. What it was a little bit of a practical joke. I had 2 friends come from Kansas City, and Cheryl did not know any of this. We were all going rafting, Jack, Lou, me, my friends from Kansas City, and Cheryl. And I told my girlfriends, Cheryl's from Pennsylvania. She's from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Her real name is Cheryl Hershey. She's a Hershey heiress, but she's very modest. And if you ask her anything about her work, she'll just be very vague. So just expect that. Right on cue, Cheryl showed up for the rafting. She had on a beautiful black swimsuit embossed with a beautiful gold seashell. She had a gold scrunchie in her hair. She had earrings on, jewelry, fancy sandals. My girlfriends from Kansas City were just, whoa, look at this beautiful Hershey heiress that we're going to shoot the Chattahoochee with. And sure enough, as we're sailing down the Chattahoochee, one of my friends says, oh, by the way, what do you do, Cheryl? And she said, oh, I'm between jobs right now. It was unbelievable. But when we got done rafting and said goodbye to everyone and back in my condo, I didn't have the heart to tell my girlfriends from Kansas City that it was just a joke because they believed it.
Oh,
Never told them the truth. And to this day, they still think that she is the Hershey heiress. And I'm going to try to play this little video I put together if I can.
I never. That's great.
If I could get off of this one. Okay, so this is just some pictures. Let me know if you can see it. This is Jack and I at the start of the raft. This is in like 1993, but we haven't changed a bit. Here's one of my friends from Kansas City. Here's Jack blowing up the raft. And here we are, look at her, the Hershey heiress, out on the Chattahoochee with her fancy swimming suit. That's Lou
so
Pondo.
funny.
Pondo, he was originally from Cuba. His family was so funny.
That is so funny.
Here we are at the end of the trip, hauling the raft in. Such good times with such great girlfriends. I'll never forget those memories.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Giselle. That's awesome.
It is, Giselle.
Can I jump in here? My name's Chuck Holmes. I'm Cheryl's first cousin, originally from almost Hershey, Pennsylvania. Not quite. And I'm part of the representation from her mother's part of the family here. Cheryl's uncle Bill Potter's on the line there. You see Bill, wave Bill. And his son Scott Potter's online. And I think I saw Tim in the back. Deanne Potter, Wiley's also online somewhere. I saw her. Anyway, so we're kind of representing her mother's side of the family. Bill, it's the last time I heard that Spring Mills, Pennsylvania was Hershey, Pennsylvania. You got any thoughts about that? Spring Mills is a little town that Cheryl grew up. in near State College, near where Penn State is. And in her first 13 years, I think she was 13 when she moved to Florida. So I got to spend a lot of time with her during that time period. And I sent several photos down to Laura, and they're printed out and they're hanging up on the strings, I guess, around the room. Hopefully you'll get to see some of the photos from Cheryl when she was younger, particularly like 6 months old and a year. I think those are really quite charming photos. And then also, Cheryl always loved coming up to central Pennsylvania from Florida, from Atlanta, and attending family get-togethers on our uncle's farm, attending gatherings at the Grange Fair, the annual fair in the little town where her mother was raised. And so it's probably the last time I saw her is when she was up about 5 or 6 years ago. And that's when I met Ariella, and just quite charmed by being in her presence. So there is a big hole in my heart, even though I don't have the contact that you people in the room had with her. We would send an email back and forth once or twice a year, and we would maybe get on the phone every other year. But there's a big hole in my heart with the loss of my dear cousin, and I'm sure my other cousins would say the same thing. That's all I had to say.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Charles? Hello?
Yes.
You know, a lot of things, one thing people don't know about Cheryl that I knew, her name isn't Cheryl, it's Cheryl.
Cheryl.
And you said her name, Cheryl.
Yep.
And that reminded me that is her real name. And she said people could never say it. And so she just went with Cheryl.
And my mother would get so mad at Cheryl's mother because my mother say her name is Cheryl. Ellie, don't you under that? Her name is Cheryl. And Ellie would say, no, I named her Cheryl.
I know. I knew that about her, and people didn't know that. And also, I knew about her life there by State College, like when she grew up there. And I knew all about her family and her aunts and her uncles. And also I knew about her. I knew her sister very well. I knew Lisa, spent a lot of time with Lisa. And when Lisa was married and during Lisa's illness. And I have so many memories of her. She's just the most darling girl, and she'll always be in my heart. And I'm so happy to see her family. You know, I knew her mother and her father. They were just, her mother was just a kick. She loved to play golf all the time. And yeah, it's amazing to hear all these stories about her. But I know I could tell Mike so many stories, but she's just a darling, darling girl. She'll always be in all of our hearts, I know.
Yeah, we'll be talking. I want to hear those stories.
Can I share?
Hey,
Hi,
Sure.
can I share? Can you hear me?
absolutely, please.
Hey, I am Tara. It says Carter. That's my son's name. I know Cheryl from Nicholson and the pool. I'm gonna try not to cry. Every time I went to the pool, our kids were on swim team together. And each time I went to Nicholson, either if our kids had lunch together or if there were plays or after school programs, I would always look for Cheryl's black Lexus. We have the exact same car. And so I would always look for her car, and my heart would skip a beat. It was almost as if I had a girl crush because her smile just lit up the room. And, Usually I try and run errands during the 45 minutes or so that we had during swim team. And I would deliberately plan on making sure that whatever I had to do could wait, because I wanted to have a few minutes just to talk to Cheryl. We never really had a chance to really go out and hang as many of you guys did, but her heart and her spirit and her presence just meant so much to me. And I just really wish I had more time, because there's so many things that I would have shared with her. It was so incredible to talk to her. It felt like you were talking to a friend. And so I'm sorry, Mike.
Love you.
I'm just gonna miss her. And I'm just so glad that I had the opportunity to know her. And I'm so happy that I get to see Ariell's sweet face, because it'll always remind me of Bunny. So
Right.
anyway, thank you.
So much. Love you, Tara.
Love
Thank
you.
Really.
Am I okay to share something?
Yeah.
So for those who don't know me, I'm Maddie. Cheryl was my godmother. And I knew her from the day I got adopted to, the last conversation was her gonna be going to my wedding. And if you can send me a special song for me to play during my wedding, just to have a moment spent in her presence, because I know that she'll be there. Sorry, I might cry, but she was such a special woman.
Oh,
And she was so amazing, and she lit up everyone's room whenever she would come in the door. And she would always make me feel special. And sorry, I was trying not to cry, but it's hard when you hear something so sad like this. And I had to tell my mom about her passing, and it just, she knew her from, they were longtime friends, and would,
yeah, you're Vivian's daughter.
yeah,
We were all friends.
yeah.
Vivian,
And
Cheryl,
so she didn't know how to work Zoom, so I'm recording this so that she can see everything. But I had such a connection with her, and she loved Ari so much. And I remember even spending time with Ari when she was a kid and a baby. I have pictures, but I know she doesn't remember me. But I just wanted to say that I can still feel her presence and know that I have someone to talk to whenever I am, feeling down. And I definitely would like someone to send those ashes as well, with everything else in it for me. And also just to have her favorite song just to listen to just spend time with her now. And my heart goes out to Mike and Ari for sure. So
Thank you.
oh, Maddie.
With love. Thank you. Awesome. Is there anybody else there?
This is Terry Potter. I'm also a first cousin. And I didn't get a chance to send any pictures, but I wanted to share one picture that I think a lot of people on this call will recognize. There we go. So I think this is actually the last time I saw Cheryl, sorry. But there's Ari right there. And of course,
Yeah.
Cheryl's mom and her brother who have also
Yeah.
gone. But we had a great time. Boy, this was a lot of fun. Uncle Bill was there, and back in the back is Chuck. And then Deanna is also in the picture. And we just had a lot of fun visiting and catching up. I've been mostly on the West Coast, but at this particular time I was in Ohio, so I was able to get back to a reunion and to catch up with cousins and aunts and uncles, and it was just a lot of fun. And you know, Cheryl was part of that, so I did want to share that. And
Thanks.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I want to thank Paul for putting up with taking his wife, you know, to do some of these things. Thanks, Paul. I can't thank you enough, man. Good. Yeah, so, and again, it's all about, you know, celebration. He's a wonderful, wonderful person in every way, shape, or form. I can't even come up with, even if I tried, come up with something even remotely negative to say about Cheryl. And that's saying a lot, you know, when you know somebody for 12 years, that I can with a clear conscience say that. You know, little things, obviously, you know, everybody's got tips that they have when you're married. But as far as in general, there's never been a better human being than Cheryl. So thank you again for being here. So it's okay. Let's go with our tape.
There's food and beverage and we got lots of.
Yeah, everything's on the deck. So, yeah. Oh, we got more than the
Please make yourself. Oh.
Yeah, Giselle. Hey, Giselle.
Giselle, you are wonderful to do this. Do you know Maddie?
Yes.
Okay, love you all.
Amazing.
Bye-bye.
All right. And sorry for your loss
Bye.
of your family and friends. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
Such
sorry
a
for
beautiful person.
Yes.
She will be missed. We won't forget her. And we'll say every day, look at you to our pets. And
I
that's
know,
just,
I
always
remember that too. I remember because she had a big Siamese, Clouseau. And
oh,
he
that's
would
right. Clouseau.
Clouseau would watch her put her makeup on every morning.
Mhm.
And one thing about Cheryl too, she was immaculate. She would have every hair in place, everything. And I'd say, Cheryl, you look too perfect all the time. You gotta look a little not so perfect. Sometimes, like, can't you get a hair out of place or don't put your makeup on or something? But she would say the same thing about me. She'd go, oh, you know, you're so glamorous and you don't have to do anything. And I'd say, no. But when we met, I'll never forget when we very first met, she came to Treetop with Vivian, with your mom, Madison.
Mhm.
And Vivian brought Cheryl and we were up at the private pool up on the top of the hill. And I came walking down, there was like a staircase that you came down. And Cheryl looked at your mom and said, who the hell is that? Because I had on the black bathing suit with this long black flowing thing. And she went, and my hair was long and flowing and blonde. And she thought I was like this stuck up, horrible person. And it turned out, you know, she found out that, you know, we were just the best of friends. And I wasn't who she thought I was at all. But I love your Hershey story. That is so
Yeah,
good.
me too.
That is so good. Yeah, I was going to tell you she was from State College. This little town.
I told Cheryl about it later, what I had told my friends after they
I
left.
bet she laughed.
She just laughed, but I
Yeah.
just couldn't fess up to my friends. They believed it too much.
I know when we were single, we'd go to all the clubs, you know, in Atlanta.
was it such a big singles place in the 70s, Riverbend and Treetop, and your mom, Vivian, and we'd all go out and we'd laugh, and Cheryl and I would laugh, and they thought we were like the Pepsodent twins. We had these big smiles, you know, with big teeth. And then Vivian would be sitting there with her little dark hair, and she was short. But we had a ball. We really did. We had a great life. We really did. And I just kind of miss her like crazy.